Yes. So this poetry part is very important. Page number 83. Then next. Why does Boris say that the books will never disappear in spite of modern modes of communication? So, the last paragraph. Last two paragraphs of Boris. Boris says that books will never disappear. It's impossible that will happen. Among the many inventions of man, that is not needed. That will happen. Literature is a dream, a controlled dream. He says that we owe literature almost everything we are and what we have been, also what we will be. Our past is nothing but a sequence of dreams. What difference can there be between dreaming and remembering the past? Books are the great memories of all centuries. Their function, therefore, is irreplaceable. If books disappear, surely history would disappear and surely man would disappear. That much you have to remember. And this paragraph also, which one? All other, the extension of our bodies. That paragraph also important. Remember, indirect questions they won't ask from this lesson. All questions will be direct one. And here, normally paragraph wise, the topics change. In one paragraph he explained about poetry. In one paragraph he explained about his mother. In one paragraph he explained his the importance of books. Like that, it separately we get. So learn it well. Now, how according to Boris does the book go beyond the author's intention? Some questions will be there. Okay. A book goes beyond the author's intention. Do you agree? The same question. Every book is a need for something more, which is always mysterious. Good writing becomes relevant for all the time. So they retain history, they retain our experience and becomes a path for the future generation to select what is right and what is wrong. Don't write path for the future generation to follow. It's not possible because there is a generation gap between the present and the future. There was a generation gap between the future, between the past and the present. It's not so. It's not so. Yes, we never stepped on the path which our parents laid. Our children won't step on the path which we lay, and our grandchildren never step on the path which our children lay. So that is the generation gap. This generation gap that leads to many clashes. How to fulfill it? The future generation, the young generation had to bend 50% towards the older ones and cooperative, and the older generation should support and understand the feelings and the thoughts of the future younger generation 50%. If this 50% joins, there won't be any gap between the generations. Right? But the thing is, the younger generation expects the older ones to adjust 100%, and the older generation expects the younger generation to adjust 100%. So the gap will be wider, deeper. The depth of the gap will be much more, and the width also goes on increasing. What happens as a result? Both fell into the dim. Yes. Poetry is magical, mysterious and unexplainable. How does Boris explain the strange aspects of poetry? Poetry is an aesthetic act. He explains that paragraph itself, that action takes place when the poet writes it and the reader reads it. It need not reach the reader as the poet's, according to the poet's imagination. A slight difference will be there between the receiver and the writer that we had to accept. in a slight different manner it reaches the reader. What does Boris see in literature? Why it's important, the future of mankind? Last two paragraphs. That's it. So now next. Word pairs. These word pairs bring 1 mark for you, and non-reversible word pairs always appear in the same order. If you change the order, it shows absurd and it won't be pleasant. Back and forth. Hinde munde. We won't say forth and back. It's not right. Rama Lakshmana. We won't say Lakshmana Rama. Will we say? No. It's very odd to hear also. Similarly, some of the words. It would sound very awkward when we read forth and back or Lakshmana and Rama like that. Some common word pairs are listed here. Trial and error. It's not error and trial, is it? No, trial and error. Pride and prejudice. Pride and prejudice only, not prejudice and pride. Null and void. Void means invalid. Void means invalid. Do one thing. The difficult words in that pair, if you find anything, refer the dictionary, or when I say the meaning, write it there itself, which will help you to understand better. Next. Flora and fauna. That means plants and animals. Whims and fancies, high and dry. High and dry means without any help. Okay. Time and again. Time and again means all the time, occasionally. Other than that, so many pairs are there. Salt and pepper. Normally they differ with they are connected with and or by. Bit by bit. Safe and sound. Rough and tough. Yeah, it's not tough and rough. Back to back. Leaps and bounds. Demand and supply or supply and demand. Demand and supply. This you can understand. Without demand, there won't be any supply at all. Right? Yeah. Here. Pick and choose. Time and tide. But remember, all these pairs are considered as a singular. Time and tide waits for none. It's not wait for none. We can't take time and tide differently. They act as a one glimpse. So time and tide waits for none, not wait for none. Tooth and nail. Tooth and nail, the meaning itself is different with lot of with a lot of effort and determination. Tooth and nail. Forgive and forget. After forgiving, it's not possible to forget, but forget means here, leave it. Forgive and forget. Forget and forgive, no. Forgive and forget. Body and soul, completely. They mean differently sometimes. Flesh and blood. Whole body, flesh and blood means. Hale and hearty. Especially for old one, we used to say healthy and active. Hale and active. Hue and cry. Angry protest. Hue and cry means angry protest. Few other word pairs you have to. Cash and carry. Cash and carry. Then near and dearer. Nearer and dearer ones. By hook or crook. Kith and kin. Sick and tired. Sick and tired means not able to. Not able to. Once and for all. Once and for all means permanently. Stop and proceed. Stop and proceed means, all over. Far and wide, all over. Lakes and streams. Lakes and streams means not only lakes and streams, it means water resources. back to back, continuously. Side by side. Side by side means together. Heart and soul. Loud and clear. Dead or alive. Dead or alive means, however, at any cost, dead and clear. Clean and tied. Nuts and bolts. Do and die. So, heaven if you are not here on earth. Kuempu. The national poet, the second national poet award he brought for Kannada. The first one is Manjeshwara Govindapai and the second one is Rashtrakavi K.V. Puttappa. So, Kuempu, Kuppalli Venkatappa Puttappa, and his son is more famous than this poet, K. Purnachandra Tejasree. This Kuempu is known for Vishwa Manavatavada, that means universal humanism. He is known for his universal humanism. You might have been heard the song Jaya Bharata Jananiya Tanujate Jaya He Karnataka Mate, written by Kuempu. So, do you agree that one's life is what one makes of it? Or what comes to your mind when you think of the word heaven? Actually, in message, in all his writings is equal share, equal life. Samapalu, Samabadu for all. That is the message of his life. When we think of heaven, what do we think of? There is no tears, no problems, everywhere greenery, everywhere happiness, everywhere peace, everywhere content feeling. So such like all positive things we imply of heaven. Kuempu asks, is it not possible for us to bring the heaven on earth? Why we think of the illusionary word above the sky as heaven? Why can't we make the earth itself is heaven and we ourselves as the names of gods? He asked. What is God? God, we consider God as a person with superpower. Superpower of what? Superpower of making all good, right? Making all good and punishing the bad. Punishing the bad. More than bad, we can say punishing the worst. Right? Why can't ourselves be gods by doing good to all? Is the question of Kuempu. Let's see what he says. Heaven, if you're not here on earth, where else could you be? If we ourselves cannot be gods, then there can be no gods. If we ourselves aren't heavenly nymphs, nymph means apsaras, the nymphs are not elsewhere. While this roaring stream rushes fast, rolling surf at the edge of waves, surf means foam. The tender sunshine leans on verdant gardens, verdant means the greenery of grass. And then the gentle sun makes this earth heaven. In the splendor of harvest and of moonlight, heaven lies all over. Imbibing and spilling the song of nectar, the poet describes heaven on earth. His original poem is given here in the next page. Sargave bhumiyoliradireni. Anyhow, let's read what says. Heaven, if you are not here on earth, where else you could be? Where else could you be? That means you cannot be anywhere else. You should be on earth. If you are not on earth, where else could you be? That means, where else could you be means you can't be anywhere else. That means the earth itself is heaven. We can make the earth as heaven, he says. If we ourselves cannot be gods, imply the good qualities on ourselves. If you implement the good qualities on ourselves, we can create a heavenly atmosphere around us. Create a heavenly atmosphere around us. If we ourselves cannot be gods, so heaven is not beyond the boundary of earth elsewhere, and there is that illusionary world which can visualize only after death. It could be experienced by each and everyone on earth itself if we make the earth as a heaven, says Kuvempu. If we ourselves cannot be gods, then there can be no gods. If we ourselves aren't heavenly nymph means apsaras. So we used to say, oh, she's a nymph, her nymphy beauty. Why can't we? What is beauty? He says, according to Kuvempu, beauty lies on the viewer's eye. Yes, of course. For everybody, their mother is very beautiful. Of course, we had to accept. Even for me, my mother is very beautiful, the most beautiful woman in the world. For you also, your mother will be the most beautiful woman in the world for you. Can it be same? Can the appearance of all mothers be same? Can all mothers be extraordinarily beautiful? No. But everybody think that their mother is the most beautiful one on earth. Why? Because the beauty lies on viewers' eyes. The attachment, because of the care and concern she shows, because of the love she expresses, because of the affection we have towards her mother, we consider her as very beautiful, right? So similarly, let us create a heavenly atmosphere around us, being showing care and concern towards others, showing affection towards others. These love, care, concern, all these creates a heavenly atmosphere around us. Let us give whatever we have for others as God gives. Let us make others happy by our smile, just by a smile, just by our tender look. Why can't we make like that, says Kuvempu. If we ourselves cannot be gods, then there can be no gods. If we ourselves aren't heavenly nymphs, means heavenly apsaras, then the nymphs are not elsewhere. Because these, instead of believing the illusionary world which is beyond the boundary of earth, better to create a heaven on earth itself where we live and we can enjoy that beauty, he says. While this roaring stream rushes fast, the roaring stream sounds a lot, rushes fast, rolling surf at the edge of waves, at the edge of its waves, rolling surf. Surf means foam which is created because of the fast rushing of water. The tender sunshine leans on verdant garden. So the rich gardens, rich vegetation, rich greenery. When the tender sunshine, when tender sunshine leans means bends on verdant gardens, and then the gentle sun makes this earth heaven. That tender eyes we should have to look beauty everywhere, to enjoy beauty everywhere. Everywhere beauty is there. But we should have the feeling, or we should have the mood of experiencing or enjoying that beauty. When we are in utter despair, If a bunch of rose is brought in front of us also, we can't enjoy that beauty. Why? Because our mindset is not in that mood of enjoying the beauty of rose. Right? Yes. If we are in very good mood, even a small wild flower also looks so beautiful for us, because our mood, our mindset is in the mood of enjoying the beauty. Right? So our mindset should be changed. Our mindset should make us to enjoy everything, whatever around us, and to create a heaven around us. While this roaring stream rushes fast, rolling surf at the edge of waves, the tender sunshine leans on verdant garden. Everywhere it's greenery, the rich vegetation. When the sunshine, early sun rays that leans on this garden, and then the gentle sun makes this earth heaven so beautiful. We used to say Nandanavana, the garden of heaven. Why can't we make earth as Nandanavana? The earth itself is Nandanavana, the heavenly garden, but we are not in the mood of considering it as heavenly garden and enjoying it. In the splendor of harvest and of moonlight, heaven lies all over. In the splendor of harvest, when these grains they grow, and at the time of harvest, the full field, it looks like heaven. And of moonlight, so tender, so pleasant. It's a heavenly look it gives on earth. Heaven lies all over, imbibing and spilling the song of nectar. Imbibing means absorbing, drink drop by drop. Gutuku gutukagi kudi, we say. Imbibing this and spilling the song of nectar. Imbibing what? Imbibing not the nectar, imbibing the song, imbibing the beauty of nature, imbibing the heavenly feelings, imbibing and spilling the song of nectar. The poet thus creates heaven on earth. The poet, he creates heaven on earth. He creates heaven on earth in such a way that his explanation that creates heaven on earth, he explains Hariva Jhari, Toneva Kangu, like that he explains. Even this Kuvempu explained like that. That's why I remember waterfalls we like to visit. Why? Just for water. Water is there at home. If you're on the tap, you will get water. No? Why we like to visit waterfall? There's a beauty of nature. We enjoy it. We enjoy it to such a way that it refreshes us. It refreshes us. We need not go for Joke Falls or Niagara Falls to refresh us. Yes, even a small fall nearby also refreshes into such a way that we say that it's a heavenly beauty. Why heavenly beauty? It's an earthly beauty which creates heaven on earth, says this Kuvempu. Got it? And flowers, greenery, and a garden, the rich vegetation, the fields, everything makes earth so beautiful that we are going to create heaven on earth. We are going to create heaven on earth. Unless we have the tender eyes to absorb and enjoy this beauty, it's not possible for us to consider this as a heavenly beauty. Got it? But these poets, they imbibe, they absorb this beauty drop by drop, the beauty of nature in such a way, and spill the song of nectar, spill it in the form of songs, spill it in the form of songs for the readers, and creates heaven on earth. He creates heaven on earth in such a way that the people common people who, by reading the poems of these poets, they enjoy the beauty of heaven on earth itself. Thus, he says that nature has the ability to revitalize us. Nature has the ability to revitalize us and it's important to mankind is more than the illusionary heaven. The nature is more important for human beings or the people than the illusionary heaven, because nobody is there who have witnessed heaven or visited heaven. Is there anybody? Yes, our forefathers. But did they come here to explain how the heaven is? No. We imagine how the heaven will be, right? After death, we visit there. We think that we visit there. We don't know what happens after death. Although we don't know what happens after death, we imagine that we may go for heaven or hell. Well, hell will be the worst and heaven will be the best. So, according to the deeds, whatever we did here, we consider like that. But whether it is heaven or hell, both are illusionary words. Kuvempu says we can create heaven on earth. So, he urges us to consider this nature as a dynamic entity. The poet urges us to consider this whole nature as a dynamic entity, and the heaven lies in the splendorous harvest and the moonlit night, roaring stream with surf at the edge of the waves. It's not heaven is not beyond the boundary of earth, which one can visualize after death. It is there on earth itself, which we can visualize and enjoy. That is what Kuvempu says. According to him, man has the ability to create the earth on the heaven on earth, but if he fails, if he can't create the heaven on earth, these poets who imbibe the beauty of nature and creates the heaven on earth through their words should be read by the people and imagine how a heaven will be in the nature on earth, says Kuvempu. According to the poet, in exercise, according to the poet, heaven is on earth itself. Who creates heaven on earth? The poet creates heaven on earth. The poet finds God in nature. Nature means in each and every blade of grass we can find God. In each and every blade of grass we can find beauty. We can find beauty. That is what needed to create heaven according to the poet. What does the line heaven lies all over suggest? The poet finds, third question, the poet finds God in nature. What does the line heaven lies all over suggest? So, in every beautiful elements of nature, we can't say beautiful elements, everything, every element of nature has its own beauty. Nature, we can see the presence of heaven. What does the line heaven lies all over means? Heaven lies all over means in every beautiful in every element of nature, we can see the presence of beautiful heaven. We can feel the presence of beautiful heaven. So, describe the beauty in nature that makes the earth a heavenly place. What can we explain? Whatever the poet explains. That means last two paragraphs. The roaring stream which runs fast with foams at the edge that brings beauty and its own beauty, which creates heaven on earth. And even the harvest or the moonlit nights, they also bring heaven on earth together with the sunshine, early morning's sun rays which lean on verdant gardens which have rich vegetation. That means the beauty of nature itself, rich vegetation that bring heaven on earth. Why does the poet feel that the earth is more beautiful than heaven? The poet feels that this second main, I'll explain in the next class also, feels that earth is more beautiful than heaven because heaven is an illusionary word for God. Heaven is an illusionary word for Kuvempu. He says that it's not possible, it's impossible to see the heaven and explain the beauty of heaven because we can visualize heaven only after death. But we can visualize the beauty of earth when we are alive itself and